promises, there's no excuse. You've been loosed.
This is From Destruction to Dignity with Janice Pons. Each week, Janice shares her wisdom to enlighten, educate, and advance the culture in America today. Janice Pons is a mother, author, and free thinker, and your host for our podcast this evening. Now let's join your host, Janice Pons.
Greetings, greetings, greetings. Come on in. Welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Janice Pons. I am the host on this podcast, From Destruction to Dignity, Clinical Perspectives, Spiritual Truths. We are going to continue our amazing fact-finding journey about our great nation because we're going somewhere and it's expecting us when we get there in terms of the improvement, the understanding of, and the undergirding of our great nation. I want to remind you, we got the huge 1 million voices arising on our Washington Federal Mall on October the 12th. Thank you for those who have signed up to go with me on the Janice Pons Prayer Tour. The registration for that ends May 1st. Go to JanicePons.com to find out how you can get registered if you desire to go. Remember, the 1 million voices arising on the Washington Federal Mall occurs October 12th, but me and my group, we're going up there on the 8th, and we're going to do an amazing historical tour and prayer tour. It's going to be absolutely outstanding. It'll be the third one that I've done. I invite you to join us, JanicePons.com. You can find out how to do that if you want to be a part. The spaces are filling up. So May 1st is the deadline to register for that. In terms of getting involved with prayer hubs for the 1 million voices arising, us being on the Washington Federal Mall together, hashtag don't mess with our kids. You can get connected there with the movement. I'm a part of that, helping them, assisting them. My vision is for the children as well, protecting them. And my vision is also for, I used to say 240 million working Americans living paycheck to paycheck. And I just learned about 3-4 weeks ago that it's now expanded by 25,900,000 more Americans, which lets me know I've been hearing the heart of God of the concern of why we need to pay attention to that and pray for them. That's my prayer. I'm lifting them up. We need a break. We need to do something different. People are hopeless and they're suffering, living paycheck to paycheck, barely can make ends meet, can't put food on the table, can't put gas in the car. Some have given up. Right now, the suicide rate in America is the highest that it's been in the history of the country. That's not acceptable to me as an American. It definitely is not acceptable to me as a licensed clinician. I love America. And where I'm at right now with America is it's not even about political parties. It's about saving this nation. And we are going to work together for our strategy to be able to effectively go to the core of some things. And so October the 12th, go to JanicePons.com. Info@JanicePons.com is where you can leave your information. I will help you get connected with the prayer hub, the overall movement. And also, if you want to have your podcast, if you want to have our podcast, which is your podcast too, because we're in this together. I'm the one just up here talking and expressing thoughts that are millions of people. This is hitting home with millions of us. So yes, it is our podcast. Yes. If you want to have our podcast live on your Facebook page, drop me a line at info@JanicePons.com to regularly schedule a live telecast in your group, and we will make that happen. Now let's dive in. Tonight, we are going to continue our journey together. We're going to talk about the accountability at another level, recalling elected officials. And from our clinical perspective tonight, we're going to talk about some general things about routines that we can do together collectively in the morning as Americans, just to consider, that will help us to reduce stress and improve our focus. There are a lot of things distracting people in our nation. Yes. As citizens, of our great nation, it's important for us to have a general understanding of processes related to accountability of elected officials and representatives. We pay their salary. Let's start there. We pay their salary. That means they work for us. We the people, the ones that's now grown into 265,900,000 who are living paycheck to paycheck, barely making ends meet. And we are the ones, based upon the tax structure as it is now, are the ones that are undergirding and supporting the pillars of our great nation, because everybody's not paying those taxes. They are not. For those on Capitol Hill, remember, we're paying $174,000 a year for their salaries, the freebies, the perks, all of it. Here's an important question. If they work for we the people, do we have the power to dismiss them from their jobs if they are not fulfilling what they were sent to the job to do? Is that the case with us? Is it? If you don't perform on your job and you don't get the job done and you're kicking the can down the road and you're not doing what you're supposed to do and you're showing up and you drunk and partying and hanging out in rooms and doing all kind of illicit things and immoral behaviors, not focus on your job, will you get sent home? In some areas of the country, citizens can use the recall process to remove elected officials from office before their term is completed. And I'm telling you, we are serious. This is going to happen if there aren't some changes. There are people that know how to do it. Let's keep going. This process typically includes the circulation of petitions to recall elected officials. The circulation of petitions are done by organizers. The evaluation of signatures are done by election officials. A public vote, if the petitions are, we're talking about what's involved, the dynamics of recalls, holding our elected officials accountable. A public vote can be done if the petitions are deemed to have sufficient valid signatures. There are, now I'm getting ready to put out here a lot of different information. It's varied, but it's what I've collected, researched. I'm hungry for knowledge because we got to change. And I am having a blast learning these things. And I'm coming on here sharing it with my fellow Americans and my brothers and sisters. There are 39 states that allow citizens to recall local elected officials, and 19 states permit the recall of state officials. Of those 19 states, citizens in 10 of them can recall any kind of state-level elected official. 7 of the states only allow citizens to recall state executives and legislators, but not appellate judges. Rhode Island only permits the recall of state executives, and Illinois only permits the recall of the governor. Now, we're putting facts out here about our nation. There are different dynamics going on in different states and cities and regions and so forth. In Virginia, recalls take the form of petitions to the state's circuit courts. Virginia laws allow local officials to be recalled, but it is unclear whether a state official can be recalled. There is cloudy in some areas. Stick with me here. There is no precedent of a state legislator or governor in Virginia having faced recall. Virginia is the only state not to use elections for its recall process. Isn't that interesting? Unlike other states that hold recall elections when citizens have petitioned for recall, it is then sent to the state circuit courts for trial. Wow, that's Virginia. 11 states, do not permit the recall of elected officials. These states are Delaware, Indiana, Iowa, Kentucky, Mississippi, New Hampshire, New York, Pennsylvania, South Carolina, Utah, and Vermont. State officials that can be recalled, it's all based, in terms of the ones that can be, it's all based on state law. Let's look at a few examples in the nation. Alaska, for example. All elected public officials in the state of Alaska, except judicial officers, are subject to recall. Alaska. Signature requirement is involved. 25% of the last votes cast for the office is what the requirement is regarding signatures. Now, Georgia, let's look at Georgia. The General Assembly is thereby authorized to provide by general law for the recall of public officials who hold elective office. There's a signature requirement. Statewide offices, 15% of eligible voters for the office of last election, 1/5 from each congressional district. That's the requirement. Got to get signatures. We're talking about a campaign. We're talking about people working together. In Louisiana, the legislature shall provide by general law for the recall by election of any state district, parochial, ward, or municipal official, except judges of the courts of record. 40% of eligible voters for the office of the last election is needed for signatures. New Jersey. The people reserve unto themselves the power to recall after at least, listen to how New Jersey does it, after at least 1 year of service, any elected official in this state of New Jersey or representing this state in the United States Congress, after 1 year, they can recall you. The signature requirement for New Jersey involves 25% of registered voters in the district for the office. Virginia, upon petition, a circuit court may remove from office any elected officer or officer who has been appointed to fill an elective office residing within the jurisdiction of the court. Signature requirements, 10% of the last votes cast for that office. Now, we're talking about accountability. We're talking about recall. Choosing a successor. There are 4 general methods used to choose a successor for a position as a result of a recall election. Simultaneous election. The potential successor is chosen on the same ballot. This is used in Arizona, California, in state-level offices only for California, Colorado, Michigan, Nevada, North Dakota, and Wisconsin. Now, here's another scenario, separate special election. The successor is chosen in a special election following the recall election. This is used in Georgia, Illinois, Kansas, depending on the office of when the vacancy occurs in Kansas, Louisiana, all state offices except governor and lieutenant governor, Minnesota, as it relates to state legislator, Montana, depending on the office and when the vacancy occurs, New Jersey, state legislator only, and Rhode Island, state legislator. You see the dynamics of the variability in our great nation. Now, appointment. The successor, this is how it can occur as well. The successor is appointed. This is used in Alaska for their state legislator, California for local offices only, Idaho, all offices except governor and lieutenant governor, Kansas, depending on the office and when vacancy occurs, Louisiana, lieutenant governor only, Montana, depending on the office and when the vacancy occurs, Oregon, all the offices in Oregon except the governor. Rhode Island, Secretary of State, Attorney General, and Treasury. Virginia, we've already talked about the courts being involved. Washington, all offices except governor and lieutenant governor. And then there's the category of this dynamic, automatic replacement. The successor, we're talking about if someone's removed, the successor. The successor is determined by the legal line of succession. This is used in Alaska, related to governor. So the lieutenant governor would step in. Then Idaho, related to the governor, lieutenant governor. Kansas, governor. Louisiana, related to the governor. Minnesota, governor and lieutenant governor. Minnesota, governor and lieutenant governor. New Jersey, governor, lieutenant governor. Oregon, governor. Rhode Island, governor and lieutenant governor. Washington, governor and lieutenant governor. Then there's a category of recall of federal officials. Now let's look at that. Federal officials. The United States Constitution does not provide for recall of any elected federal official. Interesting, huh? I didn't know that. Let's look at the intricacies of that. The option was considered during the drafting of the document in 1787, but it was not included in the final version. Some state constitutions have stated the right of citizens to recall their members of the United States Congress, but whether it is constitutionally legal at the federal level has not yet been ruled upon by the United States Supreme Court. Interesting. One of the closest noted legal precedents in the U.S., Term 17, limits Incorporation versus Thornton, in which the Supreme Court decided that states did not have the right to impose new terms, qualifications, or conditions of service on federal officials. Wow, that's good to know. Some states have released opinions and rulings on recall of members of the U.S. Congress. Attorney General in Arkansas in 2010, Louisiana in 2009, Kansas in 1994, Nevada in 1978, Oregon in 1935, all issued opinions against the recall of federal officials. Now, there's some dynamics that go on that is going to happen. We'll get to that in a minute. Hold on. Conversely, the Attorney General of Wisconsin in 1979 gave an opinion that state administration could not reject a petition for recall of a member of the U.S. Congress. In 2010, the Supreme Court of New Jersey ruled against federal recall, and the Supreme Court of North Dakota also upheld an opinion by the state's attorney general against federal recall. This is important to know, because we're going to be recalling some people if they don't get their act together. Michigan courts stopped a recall petition against a member of Congress in 2007. A federal court in 1967 dismissed a case from Idaho where petitioners hoped to require the state to accept petitions seeking recall of a U.S. senator. Now, there are some states that have no recall provisions at all. You know what who those states are? Alabama, Delaware, Indiana, Iowa, Kentucky, Mississippi, New Hampshire, New York, Pennsylvania, South Carolina, and Utah. Now, let's look at whether grounds are required. What are the grounds that are required regarding a recall? In some states that allow a recall can only occur under certain circumstances. An example of this is Georgia, where an elected official may only be recalled under the circumstances of an act of malfeasance or misconduct while in office, violation of the oath of office, failure to perform duties prescribed by law, or willfully misusing, converting, or misappropriating without authority public property or public funds entrusted to or associated with the executive office to which the official has been elected or appointed. In other states, recalls may proceed without having to fit within a prescribed set of grounds. Now, the grounds required. Let's look at that. States that allow recall elections only if they fit within certain prescribed grounds include lack of fitness. Wow, how thought-provoking is that? Lack of fitness, incompetence, negligence of duties or corruption, misconduct in office, incompetence, and failure to perform duties prescribed by law. Neglect of duty, misuse of the office, or incompetence in the performance of duties when that neglect of duty, misuse of office, or incompetence in the performance of duties has a material adverse effect upon the conduct of the office or upon conviction of a drug-related misdemeanor or a misdemeanor involving a hate crime. Misconduct, malfeasance, non-feasance, crimes in office, drunkenness. Wow. Gross incompetency, corruption, theft, oppression, or gross partiality. Lord, have mercy. Woo! My fellow Americans, we all know there is a dire need for accountability for elected officials whom we pay their salaries. They work for us. Last week, we clearly laid out the role of calling your representatives, sending emails. We will have campaigns, letters, and postcards, and having protests, peaceful, united protests in holding politicians accountable. Listen, guys, politicians, the gig is up. Tonight, we examine the process of actual recalls. Both have totally different dynamics. I believe the goal is to get the message across loud and clear. We have councils, we have committees that are paying attention to all actions. We are watching, we are observing, we are taking notes. And we will get you out of office if you don't serve the needs of we, the people. You work for us. You will be held accountable. The days of status quo are over. 2024 is a pivotal year. From a clinical perspective tonight, we're going to look at some basic routine patterns and habits that we can be encouraging towards one another to get this nation together. Yeah, we got to get it together. We got committees, we got commissions, yeah, we've got plans to hold those accountable that we pay their salaries for. And from a clinical perspective, we're going to look at morning routines to reduce stress and improve focus. Yeah. I have started doing some of this, and boy, I'm telling you, the older I get, yes, I just had a birthday last month, and I'm just the older you live, the older you get, it's like you start paying attention to things. And I'm in my 60s, and I'm like, how did I get here? I kept living. I remember being 15 like it was yesterday. So I'm paying attention to, because I'm a clinician as well, I'm an American, but I'm a clinician, and I pay attention to a lot of things. There are anti-aging specialists. And I was researching and reading and learning about morning routines that help to promote health and longevity. People that are doing this are living past 100 years old. I already told God I want to be an old, spry woman. My mother is 100 years old and is viable. She just is vibrant as she can be. She's a funny woman. Anybody that knows her loves my mother, and she's doing well, and she's over 100. Listen, this there's an aging specialist, and I was reading what he was saying and what different ones were saying, and just getting an overall flow. And there are some evidence-based habits like exercise, breath work, deep breathing, and learning how to get grounded that help to promote health and longevity. What would happen if we did this as Americans? The routine is simple and easy to follow to reduce stress and improve focus, and it takes just a few minutes. It starts every day with a simple 10-minute morning routine that combines multiple science-based strategies for a longer, healthier life. I want my fellow Americans to be healthy, have longer, healthier lives. I'm pursuing it. Will you join me in the journey? Yes. There are categories or pillars of health. You know, we've talked about the 5 pillars of our great nation, right? That our tax dollars support. Well, there are pillars of health: physical, mental, emotional, social, spiritual health, and purpose. While it may seem overwhelming to try to juggle all of them, you can incorporate each aspect into daily healthy habits that just take a few minutes at a time. There's a 10-minute routine that I do that can, and I'm just throwing it out there. It's helped me tremendously. It gives me a head start on my day to stay focused and energized, and helps extend, I'm learning, my lifespan. I'm going to go ahead and put it out there. I am 67 years old now. And I met a lady the other day. She said, I thought you were 48. No, baby. I'll never see it again. Well, she thought I was 20 years younger than I'm 67. I am glad to be born again, alive and well. Thank you, Jesus. Now, what do I do? And here's what a lot of other people are doing as well. Starting the day with a big glass of water. And actually, my goal is to drink 4 glasses of water before I go to work. It gets your body to flowing and working, and it extends your lifespan based upon my research. So some days I get 6 in. Whoa, that's a lot of water, but I get a minimum of 4. And if I get off, when I'm doing that, I'm crisp, I'm clear, I'm focused. Yes, the day starts with water. 4 glasses before I walk out the door and get in the car. The waking up and drinking between at least get 1 glass of water in, 8 ounces in. But if you get 8 to 16 ounces of water in, you can add a little lemon juice and electrolytes or mineral salt, such as pink Himalayan salt or Celtic sea salt. Some people put a little apple cider vinegar in it. Yeah. Trace minerals, elements like calcium and magnesium. It helps to restore hydration and boost your system, and you get a boost of nutrients as well. Now, after the water, getting in about 5 minutes of stretching. Listen. Actually, I connect with God first. Good morning, Father. Good morning, Holy Spirit. Good morning, Jesus. Good morning. This is the day the Lord has made. I rejoice and I'm glad in it. I'm glad to be born again. I'm glad to be alive. I'm glad to be well. You pray the way you want to pray, but I got to get connected. Thank you for this day. This is the day that you have made. I rejoice, and I'm glad in it. So I pray, I get connected. I listen to the book of Ephesians and Colossians audibly every morning, and I repeat it out loud. And before I get out of the bed, I stretch up, lay it on my back, stretching up. I do alternating stretching with elbow to knee, on and on, like a bicycle, yeah? And then I lift my behind up, stretch, hold. Listen, it has changed the way I feel. What does it do? It energizes me. If I hold on to the doorknob and stretch back, if I hold on to the bottom of the bed and bend over, stretch, I'm energizing myself. With this quick routine, listen, I am learning, God, it's changing me, to practice gentle, mindful exercising. Those movements make me more agile, stronger. When I've had my physical exams this year. My blood work is excellent. The older I've gotten, the better it's gotten. Why? I'm mindful about what I'm doing. Here's something else I'm doing. I'm raising my shoulders up and then just letting it drop down. Raise them up. Blood rushes right up there. We carry, this is called the stress triangle right in here. We carry that, just carry stress right there. Feel it. It gets hard. Raising it up, letting it down. It allows my whole body to bounce as though I'm on a trampoline. Up and down, up and down. Yeah. But this is a great thing if you're physically able to do it. Something, listen. I'm putting a disclaimer. If you can't do this, you know if you can't tolerate it, okay? And then for me, I'm keeping my arms relaxed and twisting them from side to side, just swinging them. Allow my hands to swing and gently, and then I can just slap them against my chest. Yeah, I'm getting and twisting as I rotate. Repeating this helps me. It helps me to be limber, to be energized. Evidence suggests that short periods of exercise, particularly movements that raise your heart rate, can improve focus, and it helps to stave off negative health effects of being sedentary. Guys, the older I'm getting, the better I'm getting. I've gotten rid of a significant amount of weight. You can go on my Facebook page. I talk about it over there. Yeah. And I feel like a new woman. Yes. I'm building energy. I'm spending time investing in me. What would happen if we spent time investing in each other, encouraging one another? If all of us did this as Americans, something to energize ourselves. A few minutes of breath work, deep breathing, helps to set the tone for the day. Yes. After exercise, after I do that, get that water in me and exercise, do those stretching and what I've already shared. Taking 2 or 3 minutes to practice breathing techniques that help enhance focus and relieve stress. When you're breathing, deep breathing, you're getting extra oxygen to your brain. Yes, there are a variety of deep breathing strategies you can try. The simplest is to inhale slowly through your nose, hold it about 4 to 5 seconds, and hold it for 5 seconds, and exhale for about 5 to 8 seconds. In slow through your nose, hold it, 5 seconds, out slow through your mouth. Inhale through the nose, focusing on belly breathing, and expanding your belly, your abdomen. It works wonders. Without exhaling, immediately inhale through the nose again. Just get it in there, hold it, and then get some more. This time, bringing air into the chest. You can gradually work your way up where you getting it in your belly, then you're getting it in your chest, and exhale through your mouth. You do about 10 cycles of that. Yeah, we're talking about changing your life. Now, you can take deep breaths through the nose, engage in it. If you got medical issues, use common sense, okay? Use common sense. These are suggestions, okay? And talk to your doctor. I talk to my doctor. I have a great relationship with my Dr. Christopher Place, my OBGYN, Dr. Gina Gray. I have talked these things through. I talk them out. They are involved. I got lab work. We monitor me. Yes, the older I get, I'm monitored. It's a good thing. It's wisdom. Take a deep breath through the nose, engaging all the muscles of your body, and hold to 10 to 15. You tighten up, get them involved, all of them. Exhale through the mouth, then pause for 30 seconds, focusing on a few key words that you want to Father, I just thank you for your peace that passes all understanding. I thank you for this breath that I'm taking in. Just connecting, staying calm, staying focused, receiving the joy of the Lord. Yes. In with a final deep breath where you're holding it in 10 to 15 seconds and releasing it. Repeat this 2 or 3 times for 2 or 3 rounds. Listen, this can change you. And if you combine gratitude with this, it can change your life. Yes, gratitude. When I meditate, stop being goofy and thinking if you hear the word meditation, it's talking about some kind of thing that is against your religion or your faith. The Bible talks about meditation. Most religions talk about meditation. Meditation is simply focusing on something. When I focus on gratitude, I am so grateful, Father. I am so grateful. Girl, I'm just grateful. Focus on being grateful. Meditate on being grateful. It can be as simple as taking 1 minute to focus on things in your life that you're just grateful for. It causes changes in the body and brain, and it can boost health and longevity. For instance, scientific evidence supports that gratitude releases, when you're thinking about things you're grateful for, guess what it does? It releases feel-good hormones like oxytocin, that's how you call it, oxytocin, that help reduce blood pressure and regulate other measures of physical and mental health. Every time that we feel gratitude, every time we feel it, there's a biochemical response that has anti-inflammatory benefits. What have we talked about tonight? We've been talking about accountability. Listen, our officials, y'all need to do some deep breathing, get yourselves together and start working for us and get focused. And we've been talking about improving our focus and reducing stress. Listen, we are one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all, as we go together, harmonizing us together, going from destruction to dignity. I'll see you next week. Put it on the calendar, October 12th. The deadline for the initial registration, JanicePons.com, May 1st. I want you to go to Washington with me. We are going to have an amazing time. I'll see you next week. Good night.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of From Destruction to Dignity with Janice Pons. Janice's mission is to provoke thought, bring awareness, and point people towards intervention when needed. As a reminder, this show is not therapy, but for educational purposes only. For more information, check out JanicePons.com or follow her on social media.
Education, affirmation, dedication, information, revelation. A new nation. We are God empowered. Strength is ours. Liberty, been set free. Education, affirmation, dedication, information, revelation.